So very nice to be here. Thank you for inviting me. It's a bit difficult to come last, because when you come last, a lot of the things that you were planning to say I've already heard. So you don't look that smart. But on the other hand, you have the opportunity to stretch some of those things, right? To make some points even harder. So I'll try to do that. And I will change a bit because I understand we're also under pressure of time. So first of all, let me just say this. Welcome to the era of AI. What a year we had, right? It has been a real transformation year in terms of how we work, how we live, and how we learn. Even for us at Microsoft, where we have been at the forefront of innovation for 30, 40 years, the pace of this change has been nothing less than an industrial revolution. And we are experiencing it across all facets of our lives. With the evolution of things like large language models and generative AI has really changed the way we generate text, we generate code, and it goes to the center of how we create competitive advantage and how we go to market. And governments are noticing. I was recently at the government forum, World Government Forum in Dubai, and I was feeling that it was a technology forum. The conversations, 90% of the conversations was about artificial intelligence. And what are the top things that are on the minds of governments? Number one, it was already mentioned, legislation and regulation, right? How do we make sure that on one hand, we don't end up with some scenario that we don't want to be at, but on the other hand, we don't stifle innovation and we don't delay innovation. And that's a big one, that's a difficult one to solve. The second thing, it's inclusion. How do we make sure that AI is for everybody? It's not just for a part of society, usually the richer part of society. Third piece is about security. Security both in the sense of how do we make sense of our data, how do we protect our data, but in this time with our global events, it's also about resilience, which is about how do we make sure that our data are still there when we have threats even from state actors. In the past, resilience was thought a lot in the national level, putting things behind boundaries in the national level. Now there are scenarios where things might be safer kept abroad. Number four, it's about sovereignty. And that's also a European discussion, very alive in Europe. Sovereignty in the sense of adhering to local laws and legislation, allowing for audit about what is happening, how the systems are operating, what they are producing, and why they are producing it. And I would like to contrast sovereignty with sovereigntism. Sovereignty is the notion that everything should be locked within the boundaries of a country. In this global environment, this is not an option. This is an option that will set us back. And number four, and has already been mentioned, it's about skilling and learning. There's a lot have been said about the skilling gap in Europe. We believe that artificial intelligence can help us close that gap and can help us reskill and update our workforce. Now, all these five problems, if you think of them, they are very broad for a single government to solve, very broad for an organization to solve. So we are looking at this through the angle of partnership and collaboration. That's the only way forward. A number of conversations we're having with governments are, how do we start? What are the top 2-3 things that we should be thinking of? Let me name a few. Number one, artificial intelligence is an investment that is done in a number of layers. There is a layer of infrastructure, a bottom layer. There is a layer of networking, and there's also a layer of software-defined innovation. Investments need to happen in all three layers, not just the base layer, which has been the experience of the past, and especially in Europe. And in order to be able to scale those type of investments, it is no easy feat for a single country. So there needs to be partnerships across countries and partnerships with key actors that are trusted. And that goes back to the collaboration point that I made previously. Second big thing, at the core of AI sits data. So having a national data strategy, national not in the sense of a closed data strategy, but an open data strategy that leverages data that is produced, does not lock it up, but allows it to be utilized, combines it with public available data, and gives it to the hands of entrepreneurs and government employees is a key motion forward. Governments are already testing AI. IDC study recently named 64% of governments are on some way or form doing proof of concepts around artificial intelligence, but this is not enough. There is indeed a need to accelerate, and especially in the context of Europe. Let me close with a couple of thoughts. AI, the same as any technology, is nothing without responsibility sitting at the core of it. We at Microsoft have come out with responsible AI principles, and we have been advocating them for the past years. We feel there is more that needs to be done on that front. We have been proposing the equivalent of a Geneva Convention around setting principles, commonly agreed principles with actor states about how AI should be used and how it should be deployed, and definitely not weaponized. And we are also available to participate in this conversation. Microsoft's mission is about empowerment, empowering every individual and every organization on the planet to achieve more. In the era of AI, this mission is very, very critical. We want to live up to it, and we're expecting all of you to hold us accountable to it. Thank you very much.